Good.
So I'm doing okay. So I made a little movie to show you today.
Hello, Jane.
Hi, Rita.
I will join you guys in 15 minutes. I'm doing some high intensity work.
Okay, we're going to show the movie first.
Okay.
Let's show the movie.
Okay.
Make sure it's at the beginning.
Let's just see. However it comes up, you know.
Stupid people tend to have false confidence in their abilities.
But I can make it, I can make it, oh, sorry,
MacArthur Wheeler robbed a bank with his face glazed with lemon juice, believing the juice would make his face invisible to the surveillance cameras. He thought so because lemon juice works as invisible ink on a piece of paper.
Lemon juice, invisible ink, oh my God. Do you regret nothing? Well, certain people, maybe they should regret something, because certain times people with very limited abilities can overvalue, overappreciate themselves.
Studied Mr. Wheeler and others like him. They came to the conclusion that people with low ability at a task tend to, paradoxically, overestimate themselves. This cognitive bias is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect.
You see, there are stupid people like this girl trying to eat a live octopus, and it can create a problem if they seem to overvalue their own abilities.
As we learn something new, we are often highly confident because we know so little that as soon as we know a tiny bit, we think we know it all. Those who stop learning here maintain a false sense of mastery. Those who continue learning realize things are more complex and often lose motivation.
There are stupid people who don't really think about their actions and they don't really develop their brain. This happens. Some people just are dumb.
And the more they increase their knowledge, the lower their confidence becomes. Many stop at this stage, thinking they've learned nothing. Only if we keep going can we regain confidence while getting better. And at the end, we will be full of knowledge and almost as confident in our ability as right after we started.
Incompetent people tend to overestimate themselves very highly. The second problem is that it is impossible to explain to them that they were incompetent. If someone is unable to use logic, you cannot use logical argumentation to explain to him that he cannot think logically.
Those two wrongs, Boris and Natasha, were proving they couldn't make a right bad idea.
Think, darling, think.
Suddenly a thought struck him like a 20,000-volt charge.
Boris, you have great idea.
No, but I have defective cord on electric pencil sharpener.
I have it, darling. A contest.
Boris, did you park the car? Did you park the car, Boris?
Yes, Natasha. I parked the car safely this time. Whoops.
In other words, if a simpleton, a good student, and a wise teacher were to have a public debate, this is how things could go down. The simpleton knows just a little bit, but is very confident and voices his opinions loud and without hesitations.
Stupid people often tend to fight nature. Here's a man fighting a fish. This fish has friends, however. You see, nature will fight back.
The student knows more, but doesn't realize it because she lacks confidence. She keeps quiet. The teacher is confident, but understands how complex things really are. Hence voices his opinions with reservations. In the end, the simpleton wins the popular vote, because he is so confident about being right.
Charles Darwin said it very simply. Ignorance more than frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. Bernard Russell, the Nobel Prize winner, went even further. He said the whole problem in the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people are so full of doubts.
Okay, this time, Boris, I see you parked the car in the garage. Oh, there's a little problem with the granary here. And, this stuff is explosive.
If you have ever tried to explain to a stupid person in an online discussion that he is stupid, you already know that it is impossible.
But the world is getting worse, And I blame the beginning of its demise on social media. Because Twitter and Facebook, that's where this ridiculous notion bred, right, and became stable, that it was more important to be popular than right, right?
Well, if you've seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, you have to recognize there really are stupid people like that. And we let them vote. Here's a guy that on a dare actually put his tongue to an ice-cold pipe. Just like we saw in the movie. This actually happens.
Everything was like me, agree with me. It falls into two tribes. Oh, I don't agree with them, so I'd block them, right? And now in this post-truth era, people don't care about the argument. They don't look at the argument. They say, who's saying the argument? No, they're not on our side, right? It's ludicrous, okay?
Simple thing, put the hat back on. Only for stupid people, they don't always think it out, and...
Also bred this ridiculous notion, we've always had my opinion is worth as much as your opinion. But now we've got my opinion is worth as much as your fact, which is nonsense. I get tweets from people saying, well, I believe the Earth is 6,000 years old. Well, I believe you're a fucking idiot then. Right?
Here, Boris, sketch. Oh, thank you, Igor. Oh, thank you, Igor. Oh, Boris, keep an eye on this, will you? Please watch. What? What do you think happened next? What is in plan for the stupid Boris?
This ridiculous thing of, oh, let's ask the average person what they think. Let's stop asking the average person what they... Do you know how fucking stupid the average person is?
Boris, are you waiting? Did you drop all the charges so that it would fall straight down?
Yes, I did. We're in no danger here, Natasha. Uh-oh.
We still sell bottles of bleach with big labels on that say, do not drink. Right? Let's take those labels off, right? For 2 years. And then have a referendum.
Stupid people are often challenging themselves, doing some stupid things. And they often get paid back for what they do. Here, after this explosion, one of the bottles hits the guy who lit the fuse. You see, people buy a biofeedback device, and within a few days of learning, they think they know enough to see patients. Patients deserve their therapist to be properly trained. We need to recognize that proper training, professionalism, is important. Without proper training, bad things can happen. We need to recognize, to get our therapists properly trained so we can avoid mistakes, get the immune license, practice. It's very important. Tell the world you're competent.
Americans are dumber than ever before. The average IQ of Westerners has dropped by a staggering 14 points over the last century. We now have attention spans less than that of goldfish.
Yes, attention spans are dwindling, our brains are shrinking, the intellect is going down. We have to recognize that people are really becoming stupider. And the evil ultra-rich want us to get fat and stupid and eat their sugar and smoke their cigarettes, destroying oxygen, building excess weight, taking away our intellect so we will buy things. When people found out that 95% of accidents happen in the home, they moved in order to be safe. We have to recognize, we have to really get to grips with our society and stop the idea of being stupid and really take a look at what we're doing and who we are and what we are and try to change it. Technology is killing us. We think it's helping us, but it's killing us. And the guy says, don't ask me why, because he doesn't have the attention span to complete the thought. You see, we need to recognize that technology was supposed to bring our lives together, help us communicate, but it's done the opposite. It's taken it and separated us, made us isolated. We need to get back to the ideas. And I know that sometimes you do stupid things, but you got to get a grip and try to get better and try to face your own stupidity, laugh at it, and find a way to grow and make your intellect better. So don't be false confident. Don't be overconfident. Hello? That was the end then? I thought there was another 10 seconds or so. Nope.
Stupid
No,
people
that's fine.
tend to have false
We've seen it.
confidence in their abilities.
That's enough. You were close. That's fine. Just wanted to show the new research is showing us that incompetent people can take a little bit of learning and think that they know. The social media is amplifying it, where people now without any credentials, whatever, look like they're having the same opinion as the intelligent people. Social media is creating this. And I'm telling you that as far as our industry goes with biofeedback, we have to, as an industry, start telling all of the practitioners to broaden their education. Don't just take a weekend course on how to hit a couple of buttons and then try to go into business and biofeedback. Our whole industry needs to be able to slow this down, stop this. Jane, you there?
I'm right here, Desi.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is shocking, and we talked last year about the fact that we're all hypnotized, and that we need to work on the dehypnosis aspect of everybody, because you know, there's so much going on out there right now with pandemic, etc. A lot of it is just really, you know, to sidetrack people, but people are so hypnotized, they're not really sifting through and seeing the realities and the facts out there.
Well, yeah, and basically, since that we have a theory now that the body is made of atoms. Okay, now I won't go through all the different proof about how we came to this idea that the body is made of atoms and that electrons and protons, but I very thoroughly reviewed it, and I believe that this is true. Okay, if this is true, and nobody's seen an electron, we don't even really have a picture of an electron, nobody has any real idea, then it's hard for anybody to say this is absolute fact and this isn't. You know, we're trying to make better and better guesses. I don't know whether we can ever say that anybody's opinion is worthless. Could I say that the guy who says that the earth is flat, to me, scientifically, I can show you that the earth isn't? But can I absolutely say that I'm not being fooled? No, I can't really say that. So I have to keep an open mind. But I also have to recognize that the flat earth people, that's pretty wacko. So I believe that we have to make better and better guesses and use science and get it together. Listen to everybody's opinions, blend them together. But I think that our patients really deserve a much more professional, group of therapists that are really well trained and have a network of support, and a unity of philosophy that we get together, and we all talk and network and share and care, and that's what this is all about. We that's what I hope it's about.
Most definitely.
What ends up, I know when I get into a discussion with somebody on the internet about something, and I'll offer a very intelligent idea that's maybe counter to their point, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from them. They're gone. Somebody will say, "Oh, I talked to a guy on the internet not too long ago. He said he was going to just eat meat. He was going to go on the carnivore diet and only eat meat." And I told him, I said, there's no research that support this. And I said, in fact, all of the research is against this. The research now is coming out showing us that we need plant fiber and that plants are the essentiality, So I wrote that book, and all of a sudden there's no answer. There's no discussion. It's not like we were sitting together in a room. If we were sitting together in a room, we would work things out, share and care. But now we have this social media, whereas if somebody doesn't like a comment, he doesn't have to deal with any facts. He just turns you off. He blocks you. You see, so he stays in his own little world. So we are. What's it going to be like for the children born in the next?
Yeah.
And the strange thing, I was just thinking about this the other day. What are the kids right now who are supposedly in grade school and didn't have grade school? They sat home and watched Zoom. You know, what's going to happen to these kids? How are they going to grow up? Are they going to grow up, you know, without that connection of society? You know, what's going to happen?
Well, yeah, exactly. And they're sitting with masks on and don't touch me and don't socialize and don't play with me. We're not allowed to be near each other. So it's even worse.
I know. You know, so what's going to happen? You know, and then now that we're getting more and more support through the telephone, etc. But you just look, you ride the bus, and you know, 90% of the people on the bus, you know, are sit there looking at their phone. You know, I still have one of these old phones. I don't have a smartphone. I have one of these old phones, and it's only when somebody wants to call me, you know, and hopefully that they'll talk. I don't carry with me any social media, you know. I have that on my computer. I get up in the morning, I check things, and oftentimes I could go for days and not check my email. I forget because I'm busy doing a task, you know, a project, and then I try to go to the Ask site. Yesterday I was watching a movie called Streets of Fire. Very interesting movie. It had some very good music in it. And 3 of the songs that were great, the best songs, were written by Jim Steinman. Oh, he's a favorite of mine. He's behind the Meat Loaf work and Bonnie Tyler's, you know, Total Eclipse. And he died. He's my age, you know, and he died, you know, a couple of days ago. And it was, you know, shocking, you know, and I started to, you know, to think, you know, about, so I made a dedication to him. But I just started to think about life, you know, and what are we doing, you know, and things. Where are we? Are we getting it together? Are we moving apart, you know? So, at any rate, I have another video to show.
Well, I think, Desi, just to answer you, I think it's each individual's journey right now. And you know, then the collective will form. But right now, people need to search deeply inside and find their answers. They're not going to find it by visiting 10 practitioners out there and asking 10 or 50 friends. The answers are inside us, and that's where we've got to grow up and get connected with ourselves.
Well, we have to have ability. I meet people who do not know. If you do not know that drinking milk with a meal is blocking your stomach acid, if you don't know that, okay, and if you've been taught to drink milk with your meals, then you're going to be creating a factor of disease. If you don't know that coffee with the meals puts an extreme burden on your pancreas and creates problems. There's certain things that we're just not taught in school about how our bodies work. We're not really taught about our needs for plant fiber.
No.
You know, most of the people teaching nutrition, even in medical schools, don't have a clue. The worst foods in the world you're going to get is when you go to the hospital. You know, I worked with a doctor a long time ago. He did a course. He was a medical doctor. He did a course in nutrition. He said, if your patient wasn't sick going into the hospital, if they broke their arm or leg, if they weren't sick going in, if they've eaten hospital food for 3 days, they're sick. They are nutrient depleted. They are getting bad nutrients, bad chemicals. He said, you know, and you're supposed to go to the hospital to be able to recover, but then hospitals now, they don't have the money to put good food, and then they're not even taught about things. It wasn't too many years ago where the sugar industry in America tried to get sugar as one of the 5 food groups.
Unbelievable.
They wanted to have a 6th food group to say that there was so much sugar you needed every day.
Look, I don't actually know how a hospital can mess food up so badly. I don't know how an old age home can mess up food so badly.
The money. It comes down to Rita and I. About a year ago, we were in a nice little friendly restaurant, a place where we go to vacation over here in a little town. And as we were sitting there, and we were in this hotel. We stay at this hotel because it's got these thermal healing waters. And the lady came into the hotel, and the restaurant's under new management now. And she said that she was bringing in a list of gluten-free, sugar-free, fat-free. She was bringing in healthy, not a menu, but like supplies, healthy food supplies. And the restaurateur said, "No, we're not interested in anything." No, he wasn't interested. And Rita and I decided not to go back to that place. Because
well, I mean, it's still 70% of people are walking around hypnotized and eating all the junk, and that's that, you know.
Exactly. They're still hypnotized, you know, into thinking that they should boil foods in oil and French fries.
Very bad.
In the world, you know. Any rate, I have a new video I'm going to show you, and now we're going to talk about how we can cure any mental disease.
This is Professor
Desiree Newman, man left America to fight freedom, just really no longer a man. And who's to say what mental health is or what mental health isn't? Who's to say? Because we all have our own little quirks and etc. But could we find a way to cure mental disease? Well, while going to medical school in Rootstown, Ohio, I found out that the medical way of treating these things was all about medication, schizophrenia, etc. Medication. In fact, we would all party if somebody got back on their meds. And I started saying, well, what is this? What is this medication? What is the action of these things? What does these medications do, these antipsychotics, neuroleptics? Well, I found out that all of these antipsychotics work by blocking the action of the dopamine. Dopamine, because there was the theory is that when you took something like dopamine, you took too much L-Dopa, or if you took cocaine, or if you took amphetamines, you see, these cocaine-like substances, this would induce a type of psychosis. So they wanted to block this, or block the dopamine. Well, I'm here to tell you, without doubt, you're not mentally ill because you're drug deficient. There was a problem in the bowel flora, and I started to see that all diseases start in the bowel flora, and that's where we needed to work and to get back to. Now, these drugs, they create dependencies, they create side effects, and a lot of people are prescribed these antipsychotics who really don't need them. And of course, what they say in medicine, when we're taught in medical school, is the fact that if we get a side effect, we got a pill for that, and we got a pill for that side effect, all of them. And if we start to look at the causes of schizophrenia, we're going to start to see that's not really genetic. It's much more environmental. And we have to really understand that there's kind of a combination. Some people have a genetic predisposition, let's say. But other people, it's much more aggravated by their environment, something that happens inside their environment. Well, could it be bowel flora and nutritional related? Well, we found out that the family is involved. Well, could it be that because it's not quite genetic, that it could be because of the foods at the family, the lifestyle of the family? And as we look into nature and nurture, we start to see that there is an interaction, but just that the family was pretty involved in these schizophrenic issues. And then as we started to look deeper and deeper, we found out that there was an indication of something that wasn't quite genetic, so we had to deal with it. But I started to find out it was bowel flora, that we had to work by recognizing that all disease starts in the bowel flora. And inside here, this is where we make the hormones that we need. Of course, the drug companies are all after how to make something that will block, inhibit, suppress, obstruct, interfere, impede. That's their whole way of working. And their whole way is working for profit over people. But I decided I wanted to work on a natural way and try to get to the core of the problem, not just cover it up. And I found out that I could work with the bowel flora. And I found this way back in the 70s, going to school, that I could take my patients and clean up their bowel, get their bowel flora really clean, and then I could do much more psychotherapy and help them. Now, this whole bowel flora starts when we're young with antibiotics. We're giving everybody antibiotics for everything. It was really bad back then. And mental disease could start there. Then sugar kicks in, destroying bowel flora. All different types of things. We use sugar to placate. As we looked at these mental diseases, I wanted to find a way to help them. Well, as a trained psychotherapist, psychiatrist, I found out psychotherapy didn't work if I didn't get their bowel flora clean. I had to start by getting the bowel flora so that we get the proper different types of hormones balancing, that the dopamine needed to be balanced with GABA. And all this is very intricate procedure, very complicated, and depending on bacteria in our bowel. Now, as I looked at over 100 different cases of schizophrenia, in each and every one of them, I found a sexual orientation difficulty was the start. The start of their schizophrenia created around some embarrassment, some type of time where a man might have been caught masturbating, and all of a sudden the embarrassment, it created a separation. He needed to separate. He needed to separate. He became schizophrenic. Now, there has been some success rates with natural therapies. They've been able to lower the amount of medication. And this was very interesting, but not quite curative. So I wanted to be able to work deeper and find a way to produce a cure, to really help these people long time. We tried to work with the different natural remedies, but it just wasn't quite enough. I had to be able to clean up the bowel flora. To work to clean up the bowel flora, we'd have to get rid of the bad bacteria and replace with good bacteria. This would take an entire change of their lifestyle as the things that affected their bowel bacteria, such as antibiotics and sugar and smoking and coffee and etc. But if I could stabilize their gut flora, I could produce a much more stable area of the brain. Then I saw some very interesting research that came out of Germany, came out of Europe, showing that if they got B vitamins into the patient, they would get a large dose of B vitamins, and this would dramatically help the schizophrenic. So we knew that there was problems with sugar. Sugar had killed many people in the Black Plague and over again. And one of the worst things was the synthetic sweeteners. These synthetic sweeteners were really bad at creating massive problems. So we had to get them off of all that. Because not only did the bad bacteria work on sugar, but it would take over your brain and cause other diseases and sugar addiction. In order to kill those bad bacteria, we developed some different things. One of them was this soup. Very spicy soup. They would take this during one day, 2-3 bowls of this soup, and it would kill off good and bad bowel bacteria. It was very, very powerful, and it would really kill off. And now we have to replenish that good bacteria after we've killed off so much of the bad bacteria. Here was another formula that we used, because this would help to kill off the bad bacteria, thereby creating a place where the bowel would want to take the good bacteria, if we could get rid of the sugars and etc. We found that probiotics were very helpful, but the probiotics, when they hit the stomach acid would usually kill them. So what we would do is tell the people to take their probiotics with a large glass of water on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. The stomach does not hold the water very long. It will carry the probiotics through into the small intestine and down into the large intestine to seed properly. Knowing our factors of the stomach and how long things take in the stomach, then we could see just when to put in our B vitamins. you see. Because depending on what we've eaten, we know how long it's going to take before the pyloric valve will open up when the stomach acid has done its job. So when the stomach acid has done its job, that's when we want to be able to give a little bit of the bicarbonate, because the pancreas will give sodium bicarb. We could give a little bit with baking soda, and we could do this with the B vitamins, and thereby we could get the B vitamins into the intestine for full absorption, intensify absorption with the baking soda, and we got fantastic results as the B vitamins got into the system. And finally, people started to think, we got the folic acid, the B12, the B6. We used GABA to help reduce the dopamine. And now I could start to do psychotherapy. I got the brain to work properly. Now my psychotherapy could effectively really work much better, because the valve flora and the chemicals in the brain would start to be balanced. We found that they needed to get family, they needed to get peer groups, support, housing, and we needed to do eye movement factors. Here, I'm going to show you.
Relax.
When we can get the brain to work back and forth, side to side, the full brain can process material better. This is an excerpt from one of our machines, that how the therapy is done. The machine will interface with the body electrically to help balance electrical signals, doing a scanning, doing a check of the body electric, then treating the body electric and looking for responses, and then generating into a back and forth motion that would help to stabilize the brain. We're going to check electrical functions of brain and heart and muscles and skin resistance, and then be able to stabilize the brain with the eye movements. As the patient looks back and forth, this stimulates both hemispheres. And now that the bowel flora and the B vitamins and the brain chemistry is stable, we find different parts of the brain where the bad memories have been stored. And now the brain can process those materials, let go of those bad memories, let go of those ingrained behaviors, and we could start to see cures. Cures of the mental disease. After we've stabilized their bowel flora and got them into a place to be able to balance and get an intensification of the brain effect. The human brain has incredible abilities to process these hurt feelings, embarrassments, gender difficulty. The human brain has incredible abilities to accept things we can't change and to change things that we can. And the human brain was incredible. And if we gave it the right chemistry, we'd be able to make this system work and work better. We'd be able to then find out other different aberrations, because our system is designed to find out other aberrations, and then turn on the computer interface to be able to cleanse out and help us work through a cybernetic loop to help patients. We've found that in the system today of modern medicine, that modern medicine is dictated by the chemical companies who are trying to put profit over people, looking to enhance people through the sale of dependent chemicals, not really trying to cure them. But if we could get to the core issues, if we could realize what antibiotics, what big sugar, these other chemicals have done, that if we could get them to get the bowel flora and reduce the causes of disease, we could cure mental disease for good. And this is just a beginning course to help you to understand the work that we've done in this area. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I found
Wow.
in working in Youngstown, that if I could get the bowel flora stable and if I could clean out the bad bacteria, start getting into good bacteria, and then use the little bit of baking soda in water after eating that would then be coupled with the B vitamins. We could really get those B vitamins to rush in and work. We had to get all of our mental patients off those sugar and the processed food. And then I was able to work with them to get to their brain problems. So
calming
first
the
off,
nerve system down is GABA is also great for doing that, and also for a better sleep maybe.
so all of the bowel flora where our hormones are made, the GABA and the dopamine, the serotonin, that was the first step. We have to just make sure we get that ready. Then people get, normal people have trauma and they process it. It happened. 9/11 happened, and all those people that escaped from the building, everybody involved, all the families, etc. The government said that they made all of those people go to counseling. And it was something like, I think, in the neighborhood of 10,000. They made them all go to counseling. Many of them got worse with counseling because many of them did not need it. There was only about 1 person in 20 that needed counseling. The other people, their bodies could process the material, Now, what's the difference between the people who could process and the people who couldn't? The people who couldn't, that memory of whatever the stressor was, loss of a loved one, the threat of life, whatever that problem was, it would get caught in one side of the brain and not processed. Whereas normal people process. Normal people, their family member died, they would mourn, but then they would realize life goes on. They would process. Certain people can't because that thought, that memory gets caught in one place. Thereby, they relive it. They don't process it.
And then they lose function in other territories because they just cannot deal with the issue.
The whole thing cascades, that they lose function. So now what we found is that this new therapy of just simply getting people to move their eyes right to left, this eye movement work,
that helps the brain and the eyes, and
it would stimulate the brain to process.
Of course, that nervous system also.
So now the new software, which we're just about ready, the new software is going to have a lot more of this. And what you just saw in there, you saw an excerpt from the new software. The new software will have this so that every patient will be asked to have their eyeballs move, and every patient we will be discussing their bowel flora. Every patient we will be teaching them how to breathe, how to get water. And we're going to be changing this and creating a super technology. And then as we can train our therapists more and more to work in different ways, we're going to be creating a real powerful new form of medicine.
And Desiree is right now also working on just protecting the energy field, aura, mental field, and to cleanse the entities and provide more psychic protection for us.
So I believe, as I stumbled onto this group of books about possession in psychology. Many stories about how an entity, either a spirit or a dead person, who knows?
Or just an energetic form.
Maybe whatever. But there was just so much of this. And now, in order for us to recognize, to prove that white crows exist, we only need one white crow. We don't have to have all the crows be white. We don't have to see 10 of them. We only have to know one.
There is
so
a lady.
Is one case.
There is a lady called Edith Fiore who practices in California, and she's a psychiatric doctor.
And she writes a book.
Yeah, and she wrote the book.
And she has many cases. But if just one case of this possession is true, we need to recheck and rethink all of psychology and psychiatry.
Because in this book, what I have read, that many schizophrenic issues are misdiagnosed, and people think that those people are completely crazy and they have been just taken over by some entity or energy form, and this lady could release many people of that.
When I was working with my schizophrenics, I found that at the core of every one of them was a sexual issue that would get caught on one side or the other. There was always a sexual with every schizophrenic. That's all the ones that I dealt with, and I'm talking probably maybe more than 100. I won't say that's 100%, but I say that's a big part of what's going on. But then, does that open the door for other energies to come in? Because we talk about schizophrenia, that people become separate from themselves. They schizoid, separate.
Body and mind separate.
And that they're a different type of person, different energy. So as we take a look at this, we have to recognize that we need to develop a new form of medicine that allows this to be discussed.
And these people don't even have to be addicts. They can be just traumatized. They can have immune weakness, autoimmune problem, high fever, or they can just be in a very stressful environment where they have been diagnosed, found dead people in the past. Or
so as we get to develop a new form of medicine, we need to broaden our minds and start recognizing that so much of
spiritual protection is highly needed.
But so much of what we call modern medicine today is, in another 100 years, we're going to think of it as witchcraft.
And never mind the entities that the modern medicine brings in.
Exactly. The hypnotic suggestions your doctor gives you. So
there was a TV show called Surviving Death.
Oh yeah, we watched Surviving Death.
And that was
it's on Netflix, and watch it. It'll blow your mind.
This is a documentary movie of real cases when little children are talking about experiences from their life before. And oh, my other mommy who has dark hair. So children in the age of 2, 3, 4 can actually clearly see things like that or remember their past.
Talking about reincarnation.
Yeah, reincarnation. That was really cool.
And I'm putting together, Rita and I are working now on a movie that proves beyond a shadow of doubt that reincarnation is a active thing that's happening.
And back to the entity and these possessions, I have heard that many people carry diseases, sadness, or fear or anger from their past life because they have so big issues that they stay attached, and that creates a mental health care issue in their current life. And that can be because somebody was a pope in the Middle Age or a witch who was burned.
So as
tragic issues like that.
As we develop this, we don't want to get them lost into a fantasy that's not real. We want to use different things to help them disperse the bad behaviors that are now.
We hear stories that like regression and deep state of hypnotic regression can unlock many issues, and combined with our machine with biofeedback and with right eating, with the right mental focus, we believe that people can really become more self-aware and get more connected to their higher selves.
So I built the machine with the past life in it because I'm having a deep feeling of
the organ field,
open mind. And now I'm going to be redoing the software and making all of this better, making it more thorough, and trying to help patients in many different ways.
In the biofeedback systemic relaxation program, we have also reprogrammed karma, release psychic attack, and also reverse psychic attack. So if somebody wants to leave that on for overnight or during the whole day for protection, that also works great in subspace.
And I'm increasing all of these functions, and we'll be teaching all of this with the new IMUNE class. So
it's going to be needed more and more and more with everything that is going on. We are going to be having to clean people on many levels and in many dimensions. Because of the destruction right now.
Exactly.
In our
So-
new prayer here, there are all the Buddhist mantras talk about that in all languages. There are protection prayers built into that, and Desiree
Well,
made
that's
it.
been in the system for a
Yeah,
long
but
time.
you made it more robust last
Yeah,
time.
I've improved it. So we need to develop a whole new form of medicine. We need to get our therapists to stop thinking that just get one weekend of training
And I
and
believe
listen
that
to a webinar and then see patients. We have to stop.
every therapist and everybody who is healing and working with people needs a recharge, needs an update, and I think every therapist needs a so-called therapist. If you understand, so we all need a teacher. We all need a
We all
mentor.
need to grow. I agree with you. We all need to grow.
The more we grow, the more we can help for people and share our experience.
Definitely.
So now that the COVID is starting to clear, I'm hitting the reboot button on our industry and telling our industry we're just not going to tolerate people seeing patients without a license.
Yes.
We need a level of professionalism. And I'm not going to tolerate questions. Is there a therapist in Kentucky? No. Is there a licensed therapist in Kentucky? I don't want to hear the question. Does somebody own Does somebody own a machine in Kentucky?
My so-called favorite question is, do you have protocols saved on your computer what you can say? These don't work that way.
We want to teach people how to do it right.
We want to teach people how to think, how to understand, and how they can lead themselves to the right solution, and how they can actually develop a consciousness and a cooperation, teamwork with their machines. This is very important.
And work, in a much bigger dimensional, holistic, universal, call it morphogenic space with our device and this absolutely awesome quantum software that we have.
Yeah, and I think if we really take the time and the energy, we learn something every day, because this knowledge and this technology has like endless information to show and to explore.
It is so true.
On the business side, before we finish, we've had a couple of people that have started to get their machines at the introductory price. We can't honor that anymore. Now, if people want to get a down payment of $8,888, we can set up a payment structure with them for the devices. They can talk to me directly if they want more information. That's fine. But basically, we need to now start getting into a whole new service and get people and get them into IMUNE.
And what I would also like to mention, if somebody is in the mood, and now that the travelings will be more open and freed up, we are happy to keep small group courses for people who want to grow, develop, or expand their knowledges. So if somebody is interested in personal biofeedback trainings with Desi and me, personally, who is happy to spend a week or a weekend with us, this is also possible. So for that, you can also get information directly from us.
So, and I mean, I'm also helping you guys do all of this, and just sharing this, the whole space that you guys share and carried with you, and just to share on what you've just said regarding the new software and the new devices and things. That EMDR programming, when you look left and right, it is absolutely phenomenal, and it really brings me great joy that is now included into the software, because it's undoubtedly one of the most effective things that I do with my clients. And the gut health as well. I just want to bring this in before we finish off completely and get back to the devices and things. There's a psychiatrist that comes once a month, and she picks up, I actually went to fetch a bottle, one of my microbiome reset. It's got 80 to 100 live beneficial bacteria, fungi, and yeasts. And it will also scavenge the pathogen. So she picks up bottles of this, Desi, and she picks up bottles of what we call a Parastop. And then she said to me, after a month, when her patients come back, she knows who she's speaking to. So just in real support of everything that we've been talking about today, this is now also in the new software. So it's really overboard exciting. And Desi is putting in a new order right now. So some people have been lucky enough to purchase their devices at the 777 special, and as she says now, it's moved. That expired. We're now into 8 euros down payment for the lease.
What I want to say is that right now we have a shipment coming in of devices in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be giving delivery. And if somebody is not going to buy now, it might take a couple of months before we can get shipment.
I just want to get. I'm trying to get my slide up here. I made some slides, and old Murphy's Law just doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. There we go. I made a slide for us. Let me share that. So this is where we are now, right, Desi?
Yep.
While the stocks last, because I think this is the thing, and we really do need to act now for even more reason. We've got to get, if you're wanting your device, you should really try and get it now. And Desi has made it so, I won't say affordable, but so realistically, the opportunity for us to own these devices and work with them, in countries around the world, she's made it possible. She's absolutely made it possible. She is actually carrying the finance, if you think about it. So in actually honor to her, and Rita, to take advantage of this. And I think it's also because I know you, Desi and Rita, the heart of the matter is let's get this work out there, but be professional, because the professional aspect of all of this is it's the kingpin, it's the leverage, it's everything that what we do, it's the quality of our industry. And our industry is only going to be as good as us and the people we attract. Isn't that so?
Exactly. I agree with you.
And then this is the diploma, which Rita and I can help you with easily. And it starts off just, you join the IMFlex, it's $14 a month, and it's a sensory overload. You have every course on the IMUNE in front of you, literally from the diploma to the doctorate to the naturopathic course, homeopathic course. And anyway, you can start studying from the get-go. You just have to join, and then you can enroll for the course, which is 600 euros, 37 really comprehensive courses that will blow your mind. And get hold of a mentor. Rita and myself can help you easily. And that cost is 450 euros. And then we submit your diploma for you to Desi, who will then okay it and accredit you. And then we move to the license. So you can't get a license without the diploma, right? And in order to raise the bar for our industry, we need to be dealing with exactly what Desi said, licensed immune diploma therapists, not just somebody who presses buttons in the south coast of your country or whatever.
Anybody who gets started with this, everybody is happy and people get success and everybody enjoys doing this. And I have many people to completely fulfill and complete even also the diploma and the doctorate with the help of Desiree. And this is really nice to create a living and create an income from your from health and from this amazing study and technology and all the knowledge what comes with it, because you also can heal yourself, your loved ones, and everything what you love, and your health can be your profession as well. So I think it is amazing to learn and grow.
One of the really good things with lockdown is that it's kind of knocked on the door of everybody, and people are sort of saying, hey, you know what, my health is really important. And being in more of a subjective space as opposed, more of an objective space, should I say, rather than before where it was subjective, it was a belief. We are now in the world right now where what we measure is real. And we need to measure, validate, verify everything. We need to be able to show a client we've moved you from A to B in your consultation. There's been a certain percentage improvement. And then people know that there's been a shift. It's real, it's validated, and they can come back and track their progress in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 5 weeks, whatever you decide. And this is terribly important right now because, wow, so many people are floating out there. They've been to any number of 12, 15 physicians in the last 15 years. They've got yellow fever, toxicity. Nobody's told them. One look at our device and we pick up the root cause. So we are really getting to the root cause of disease. And that's what makes us very special. And then validating those risk factors after we've uncovered them, and then realigning the people, and then having full consultations on nutrition, detoxification, boosting the immunity. And in that way, we're offering a really holistic service professionally to change the world, I believe. Hey, Rita?
Sorry?
To change the world. We're able to change the world doing what we're doing. We can really make a massive difference.
We have seen many people getting out of their depression, addiction, fear, panic sickness, from being unmotivated or goalless. And many people, they experience a trauma or loss of a family member or a life-changing moment like moving to another country or losing a workplace. They get lost. They don't know how to continue their life. And this is something what can give you a motivation, a system, and some feeling of being really important, changing the world, doing something amazing, helping others, helping yourself, and just growing, raising up vibration. I think that this is the best anybody can choose.
Yeah. And also many people, I think also with the lockdown, have actually questioned their job and maybe even their relationships, and they are looking more to finding their purpose. And this is also what we can really help people with, because then there's more soul fulfillment. It's not only about physical, it's also neurological, emotional, spiritual, and that's what we're able to deliver.
Yeah, and this is something what we'll always provide information, and this you can never stop learning and discovering, exploring. And this is a science and a technological field, but will always grow higher, will expand, and people who have an open mind, they can understand it very easily, I think.
Yeah, got a whole new type of medicine with much more open minds and expansion,
and we teach people that they don't
success.
There are many things and many little issues what they can actually help with, little techniques of stress reduction, meditation, acupuncture, massage, breathing exercises, because people used to grow up in a system where if you had a little headache and you had to run to the doctor and you had to take pills. And we teach people that they can take care of certain things by reaching out to nature and by reaching inside. That's why we teach them yoga, breathing, movements, yoga, tai chi, stretching, and all kinds of dietary tips what we are always telling you, to how to clean your system and how to get more fiber into your system.
Thomas Edison said the doctors of the future will teach people how to exercise, how to eat, and how to live.
And how to be more individual and independent from the synthetics and from the pharmaceuticals.
And the doctors have now become drug salesmen.
Yeah.
And they're all realizing it. Okay. Everybody, you can't argue. these things.
I just have to share a little thing here. My doctor, who, when I was a child, my mother used to take me there, fine. So he did not even see me because I had COVID. I was here with very high fever. He did not even see my problem. He did not even hear me breathe. And immediately, beside the coronavirus medication, he prescribed the heaviest ingredient antibiotics for me, without even seeing me or
Well,
looking
even
at
though
me.
the antibiotics are contraindicated, they're not indicated in a virus. You shouldn't take them in a virus.
Exactly.
So doctors have it like burnt in their brain that you have to medicate everything without even seeing the food. It is bad.
And Rita, she took the antibiotic, and it destroyed her bowel flora.
I was feeling that for a week or two.
Sure.
You know, it was terrible. You just don't fight bacteria when you have a virus.
It killed all the useful working bacteria in my,
and her
bowel.
brain hormones were screwy. It was terrible. Then I asked her, what's this? Oh, the doctor. I said, but you didn't go to the doctor. Oh, he just gave a prescription anyways. What the?
So we've got a nice task ahead of us all, and it's an educational task, and we will pull the people with us in the beginning, who want to be with us. There's many medical doctors that are coming to me now and sitting and watching what I'm doing and in awe, and they're seeing magnificent results. One of the comments was, Jane, how come our professors are dying and you standing? And so they really are on high alert, and they're watching very carefully what I'm doing and learning, and I'm sure on your side as well. So it's really just timing now, which is perfect to just keep that ball rolling and invite more people in. And it's not a threatening space because it's alongside what they're already doing,
I was in South Africa years ago doing a lecture someplace not too far from Johannesburg. And they had 250 people. And I started going off and I started talking about the medical doctors and their antibiotics, and like Rita was saying, that prescribing it and all this stuff. Not knowing that in the audience was this medical doctor, very, very pretty woman. And she got up and she said, "You don't know what it's like." I said, "What?" She says, "You don't know what it's like when you have patients and they demand a medication. They demand a pill. They're not going to, they want something for their illness." And she said, "And I don't have anything. I have to prescribe them antibiotics." I said, "No, you don't. You could prescribe them vitamin C." And then she says, "Well, they could just buy that. They don't need a prescription for it." And I said, "My God, do you see what you're doing? You're telling me that you're prescribing a remedy that not only is not going to do anything, it's actually going to hurt them." And she says, "But they demand it." And I said, "But do you see what, your whole system is locked into, you must prescribe. In order to get paid by the insurance company, you must diagnose. And your diagnosis is most often unsure. The medical diagnosis is usually about only 40% right at best. So you're not quite diagnosing right. You're forced to diagnose instead of just prescribing water for everybody, or telling everybody to take some vitamin C. You can't do that because you have to diagnose the disease and prescribe for that disease. You're limited to your prescription, and it's completely backwards form of medicine, and it is not health care. It is profit care for the medical. And as I lectured this, finally she broke down and cried. And she says, "What you're saying is all right," but she says, "Well, what else am I?" And she broke down and cried.
Yeah.
And right there in front of all those people. It broke my heart, but anyway, I'm going to have to sign off.
Alrighty.
You guys have a good one. Write me your questions, okay?
Thank you, Desi, and we will meet next week, same time, same web link,
Okay.
all the rest. Thank
Bye.
you for everything. Thanks, Rita. Thank you all for coming through. Just say cheers to everyone. Are there any questions, by the way? I see one pop up there. Oh, thank you. I don't think there were any. Yeah, well, we went round the world. Now we did a lot of we covered a lot of ground. I tried something new today. I stood because I'm just finding I'm really sitting so much. So it's a new thing to stand, and I think it worked quite well. All right, and then tomorrow, those of you who are interested, we have the Jane Live where I'm going to go through blood sugar balancing tomorrow and discussing some live case studies, some miracle medicine, some quantum medicine, and last week I discussed blood pressure. So if you want to go and have a look on the YouTube channel, the Jane McKenzie YouTube channel, I've loaded it there. It took a while because I was suspended for a while, but anyway, I'm back online. So most of these immune lectures are also online. If they're not there, I'm telling you, they've been removed. So get hold of me if there was a topic you specifically wanted. And I'll see you tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m. South African time, Greenwich Mean Time +2. And any of the practitioners that want to learn a little bit more, want to do a consultation with me, we can do it on TeamViewer. We can go through the panels together. I'm happy to do that with you. And yes, and then we will, those of you who are looking to purchase or trade in your skier or your reductor to get the new QUEX, now's the time, I'm telling you, and there's a reason that I'm telling you this. Now's the time, and it's really become affordable to do this. So speak to me as well, because this special is only through us and for this group effectively. So, and we're just going to be moving forward. It's going to be amazing. All right. Thank you from around the world, all of you. So good to have you here. Bye, everyone.